All right. So today's our third session. As I discussed, the topics that we will go through is starting with the lookup filters. So let's quickly jump into what is lookup filters and how we can use it. Let me log into the Salesforce pretty quick. And what is lookup filter is, let me pick up with an example, and then I'll share what exactly it is here for. So let's say you have a relationship, okay, like a lookup or master details. So in our case, if we go to Unboxx offer, which is like a basically putting an offer for a property, and you want to include the parent object, you can able to see, or at least the ones that you have recently accessed. So again, just keep in mind that in some cases, let's say you have 50 or 100 different so not all of them will appear. So all you need to do is start typing in. So basically, just to give an idea, that a lot of time people might have confusion that, okay, I have here, let's say 50 properties. And when I'm trying to gather, I don't see that property here listing down, because this is only in most cases, if you really read it up close, it say recently unboxed properties. So it's not really showing you the list of all the properties you have. It is only showing the properties which are recently accessed, right? So just keep in mind, if you don't see all the objects here, it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Is basically just make sure you read the things up and close, right? Because a lot of times there might be saying it, but we kind of overlook. So in that case, what is the best practice to do is basically you go here, let's say you want to bring up this property. So you just keep the name or copy the name of the property or whatever is feasible. And then you can come up over here if you want to create a new one. And for example, if you recently did not access that, you can start typing it in, and then basically it will start filtering it out as per your typing. So here when I'm typing something, let's say I have 100 different properties available. And they ranges from $50,000 to $1,000,000, right? So I can basically type any property and select it here. Now, let's say in your property agency, the only properties that you need to deal are worth more than 100,000 or more. Anything lower than that, your agency as a whole do not accept that property. You don't work with it. Now the question is, if that is the case, why do you have properties in any case in your property list? So what happened is, a lot of times you are importing these information from different plugins. So MLSF, if I'm saying it correctly, MLF listing or whatever it's called, like the real estate listing that you get from different sources, they have all different kind of properties. So either you are putting some extra effort filtering them out upfront and then only importing. And in many cases, you cannot even filter because you directly integrated your Salesforce with that external system. So all of that information is pouring in into your system and they're collecting. So just assume a scenario. Again, that is one scenario. It could be a lot of other reasons and purposes for using a filtration, but assume this scenario just for the sake of it, is if you have multiple properties here, anywhere starting from 10,000, maybe it's like a short sale or thing of that sort, and then it goes all the way to $1,000,000. And then in your agency, you only deal with properties which is at least 100,000 or more, because you want to make sure you are working according to the kind of clients that you are working on. Now, when you go to offer, you put it here. Again, you may have by mistake or something like that, like if you are you haven't checked the price or something, you can bring up a property which may be less than $100,000. So just to make your thing easier, but again, keep in mind that that will be organization-wide filtration. It's not something that every individual is doing their own filtration. So organization-wide, if you ask admin that, can you just filter all the properties which are lower than $100,000 and just show the properties in the list which are more than 100,000. So he can put it a filtration on the object itself so that those property will not be selected. So that's the main purpose of it. Now, how to execute that? Let's go to the setup. Let's go to the object manager. Let's go to the object that we are working on. So again, obviously we are sitting on the child object. So we'll go to the child object, Unboxx offer. We go to the fields. And again, this Unboxx property field is the one which is bringing up the properties here. So obviously we need to do something with that. So let's go ahead inside that field. And if you go all the way down, there is the last section called lookup filter. So that's what basically we are going through. So if you want to use that, first of all, you go ahead and extend it, and it will give you like a lot of other information. So let's start looking into that. So here it is saying that what is the filter criteria. Um, you just want to see what is the filter criteria. So you can put whatever criteria you want to put. We just come up with a criteria right now where we want to restrict uh, our properties to 100,000 or more, right? So if in order to do that, let's say if you want to put a filter saying that, okay, Unboxx, so where are you going to look up? You need that field from the Unboxx property, for example. And if you click it, it will show you all the fields. So let's say you want to pick up the asking price. You want to say that anything which is greater than a certain value. So let's say 100,000, or I think in my case we have, yeah, let's do 100,000 as we said. Okay, so you put a criteria that the property price, asking price, should be greater than, or in other case, you can have less than 100,000. And then here you have two options. You have an option for making it required. And if it is required, meaning that if it doesn't, then display this error message. So here you can put some error message saying that um, okay, so you remember this is coming from filter. Um, And then here you can use optional as well, where user can bypass the filter. So based upon if you are okay bypassing them filter, but just give them something to start off, you can do optional. But if you want to make it mandatory, you can use the required. Also, same thing, you can have the lookup window, a text message, whatever you want to show them. And here, make sure that this is active. So let's say if you are just playing around and you don't want to make this active, or later on you want to deactivate it, you can always come back and disable this filter. So let's go ahead and save it. So this is saved already here. I'll go over here. First, I can create a property less than $1,000. So um, okay, put some address, some basic information. Let's say we start with $80,000. Save it. So see here, here we already put a filter that you cannot add a property less than 100,000. So it basically start blocking it right off the core where it's supposed to be. Okay, so this is how you can put some filters. So it will block it from entering the value in there. So let's say if you want to change it to like a more flexible, here we can go back, and let's say if you want to change it, let's say I can deactivate it for now, add some values and see what will happen. So I just deactivated. Let's try to create another property with less than 100,000. No. Okay, probably need some couple of refreshes. Okay, let's try now. Okay, not yet. Yeah, some of these things like filtration and changing the things, this might take a couple of refreshes. So just bear with it. No. Okay. It's taking a little bit longer for refresh, but anyways, we'll come back to that after getting through another one. But just to give you another view, so basically here, all we did is basically we are putting different filtrations. As you see that it is started blocking you creating it, and same thing it will do when you are basically trying to attach something on the offer object. So basically, if you are trying to create a new object here, and let's say if the property worth is less, then also it will give you the same error message. Right now, because we already block it on the course, it's not even selecting it. So this is how you can kind of start filtering different values. So you can do something as like a zip code, for example, certain zip code you don't want to include, certain values, monetary values you don't want to include. Even let's say you have different types of properties. So for example, you have houses, you have condos, you have different rental properties. So whatever you want to exclude from the bigger list, you can always exclude it. So this is how you can put the filtration. Let me try one more time if it is taking our input. Okay. Anyways, we'll come back and see. Maybe I have put something else just to make sure. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I'll come back and quickly check what's going on. So this is basically for putting the filtrations. And again, I showed you from where you can go. And again, this is usually done where you have either master detail or lookup, and that's where you can able to create like a filtered option. So that's our first topic of today's starting point. The next one is called field dependencies. So let's first understand what is field dependencies, and then we can go ahead and quickly create one. So basically, field dependencies means like you have two fields which are dependent on each other, and then if you want to make sure that the second field, which is dependent field, is filtered based on the primary field. So for example, you have the primary field like laptops, cameras, and printers, things of that sort. So you provide that, and in the secondary field, it will only, when you select the laptops, it will only show the list of laptops. If you select the phones, it will only show the list of phones. If you select a particular brand, let's say you have Apple, then it will only show the products which have the apples available. So usually if you don't have the field dependencies in the first field and second field, if they're independent, meaning that if you select the laptop in the second field, it will showing you all different types of equipments, laptop, phones, and everything. But when you make these fields dependent, then it means that once you select the primary key, then the secondary key will already filtered out. Okay, so this is a very high level. So how to do that, and it's kind of a very, very straightforward thing, is the first we will create, in order to execute that, we have two separate fields we need to create. One is called property type, another one is subtype. In the primary key or primary field, we have residential and commercial. In the secondary key or secondary field, we have house, condo, apartment. These three obviously belongs to residential. So if somebody select residential, show them these three options. If somebody select commercial, show them these three options, which is office, shop, and warehouse. All right. So again, as you know that the first step is we need to create these two. and then these two are the fields that needs to be attached with them. So let's go ahead and quickly do that. So let's say if we need these fields on the properties, where when you are creating a new property, there are these two fields which we just talked about. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and go to Object Manager. Again, where would you go? You will go to your object, which is property object. You go to field and relationship, and we need to create a new field. What is the name of the first field? Property type. And what type of field that would be? Anybody? Anybody wants to let me know what type of field that would be?
Pickles.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, yeah, that is actually a correct answer. So let's move forward. It's a pick list. And there is a two types of pick list. So in case if you need a pick list where you want to select more than one options, you can do that. In our case, obviously we need a single selection pick list, so we can pick that, but there is an option for multi-select pick list as well. Anyways, we need to have a pick list. The field label is property type. Okay. And here, if you created a global pick list, you can use that. But again, this is here, we are using as discrete values. So here, for example, we want residential and commercial. Okay. So we created a field property type. We provided the pick list values and pretty much good to go. Next is usually, again, something to do with the field level security. We haven't gone through it. So for now, we'll keep all the default. Go to the next, that's it. It will always create a default page layout and box property added over there. So just keep it there. That's fine. We haven't gone through a new or custom page layout. So that's fine. Everything is good. We want to create one more field. So instead of doing save, I can just do save and new. So I can create my second field. Again, second field, same process. It's a pick list. And the second is subtype. Okay. And here we can add the values, which is, let me just take it from here. All right, and that's it. Just go ahead and save these values. Save. Okay, so now we created two fields, property type and property subtype. Now let's see, once they start coming up, how does they look like? And then we will make them dependent fields. So first, let's see, once they're coming up, again, it might take a couple of refreshes. Okay, here you go. So this field comes up. So if you see property type, this is the base field. So if I select residential, right now it is showing the full list. Right now, imagine if we have multiple types and then multiple subtypes, it will be a long list. Now you see everything. Again, you can make a mistake for a residential. Maybe by mistake you select office or whatever. It just a little bit. You have to go through the list and select the right options. So right now they are independent fields, meaning like any other field, like this is independent. It doesn't care you select commercial, it's still going to show you all the options, right? So even you can select commercial and a house, which is obviously the wrong selection, but it won't stop you from doing it, right? So now we need to fix that through something called field dependencies, right? Again, it's a very straightforward, easy stuff. So how we can do that? We again go back to the object, same object, that we were on Unboxx property, go to field and relationships, and make sure that those two fields are available here, property type and subtype. Okay, very good. Now what we need to do is we need to create a field dependencies. If you look it up over here, right next to new and deleted field, there's something called field dependencies. Click on that, and here you can create a new set of field dependencies. So go ahead and create a new. So here you will start getting multiple fields. Again, it will show you all the fields which has different pick list value. So here we have only two fields which have pick list value, so they show up. But keep in mind that maybe when you're working with your database, you might have a lot of fields. Sometime in a single object, we have 50, 60, 80 fields as well. So you might have a long list available here. So you just pick and choose whatever you want to make the two field dependence. In our case, obviously, it's just a sample. So we have only two fields which are showing up. So which one is controlling field? Property type, as the name suggests, and which one is the dependent field? The subtype. So go ahead and do that and then click continue. Now here it is showing you a nice chart. So just read the chart and it is pretty much self-explanatory, like property type is residential and then commercial. So these are the two types. And in the subtype, it is showing you all the options. So all we need to do is just to select the options and then include the values. So how you do that? You can click on here, the first one. So residential include house, condo, and apartment. In my case, I can do shift and control and I can select these three. They will be highlighted and click a button called include values. So they will get turned yellow and bold. It means that for residential, these three values are selected. For commercial, I need to select that, select on the first one, shift, control, or whatever you have, and it will select these three and then include the values. So for commercial, I select these three values, residential, these three values, as simple as possible, good to go. Save it, and that's it, right? Again, same thing, we can do a couple of refreshes. Hopefully this should be done. Yep, it is done. And another way you can see that now is you cannot select the subtype up front. So if you haven't selected the property, the subtype is not selected. It doesn't even give you an option for selection. So this is the indication that this thing is done. You're good to go. Let's go ahead and select the first option, residential. Now you see that it is only showing the three options. If you select the later one, it is showing you the other three options for the commercial. Simple, but very useful. So a couple of examples, like if you have, let's say, talk about a financial system. If you have a certain type of bank account, it will show you all the bank account which are related to that one. If you have, for example, working in retail, if you select a certain category, as I said, it will, like cars, it will show you all the models of the cars. If you select trucks, it will show you the trucks. If you something like Japanese symbol cars, and then you have this list for that. So wherever you want to use the dependency between the two fields, it's a pretty quick, easy way to do that. Now again, in a lot of scenarios, you might start thinking about that, okay, there's a more complex scenario where I want to do this and that and otherwise. So just keep in mind, there are a lot of things that you can do using configuration, like what we are doing. As I said, everything that we will go through this administrator course is called configuration, which means that you are not really writing any code, you are not doing any development. So everything that we are learning is come under the umbrella of configuration. So in future, if you need something more, either there are ways that you can use it with some high-end configuration options. So there will be something called workflows, process builders, flows, things of that sort. So they are a little bit more advanced, although they are not coding yet. I mean, they used to be coding in order to do certain tasks, but now they have created some modules that can do some of the things that initially required coding. But again, in a lot of cases, you might still need to resort on coding. So again, Salesforce goes hand in hand with the coding. A lot of things are available for configuration, and a lot of things which are very, very customized, they might need help of a developer in order to accomplish that. So some of the things, as I said, you can able to do just by configuration options that we will try to learn as much as possible. But there will be some limitations you will hit where you need to actually do a custom coding, and then you can have a developer, or hopefully once you become a developer, you can able to do both configuration and development at the same time. So very quick. So this one was the field dependencies. So that will basically end our a high level understanding of data modeling. Again, if there's something else comes up during our couple of next sessions, I will also indicate and bring it back to this section. But so far, all the basic ideas about the database we understood. We understood how the database is built, relationships, different formulas, master detail, one to many, many to many, and then how you can basically have a base model available where you can add different fields. Now moving towards the next very, very critical item again, which is database security or overall security modeling, right? So in that, before we learn that, I'll just want to show you a quick, just kind of revise that, a quick idea about the test user, because we have covered that in the first session. So I'm assuming that everybody is able to create a new user, not a new user, a second user. So if I go to my home and go to users, it's pretty straightforward. You go to the users. If you haven't created, no problem. You just go to the user, click a new user, give a name, whatever you want to make it. I make my second user just name, first name is test user. So in that way, I can remember this is a test user very explicitly. Make sure the email that you're providing is actually a working email, and it's not the same email that you have already used for your admin user. So these two things are very critical. A lot of times people provide a non-working email because they think this is just a test user. But if you remember, you need that login email address to go back and create your password. So if you don't have access to that particular email that you're creating, then you cannot actually go back and then activate the user. So make sure that's a working email, provide the name, nickname, and then here in the license, you don't see a license, but basically there's a license called Salesforce. So if you're creating your second user, you can able to see that license. I have already created, so I don't see that anymore. So you can only create one extra user, which is your second user. So the first user is the admin user, you use one license. The second user, which is your test user, you can use another license, which is again the license name will be have Salesforce. So I already used it, so I don't see it anymore. So after that, like in my case, if I already use that extra user, after that I don't have a license. All of these are different type of licenses, but not really a license that you can use it to run as a Salesforce user. So there is only one extra user that you can create. You cannot create multiple users from there, because Salesforce charge license fee for every user. This one is obviously a free version, but it is just giving you this extra user so that you can able to do your testing, and that's pretty much it, right? So here you will create the, you can use the role. Again, you can choose any role as you want, but if you want to keep it consistent with me, you can choose the marketing team as a role, choose the Salesforce here, and then the profile, you can use a marketing profile, okay? So same thing, you can use the marketing profile here, and then just create the second user. You need to go to your email, create the password, and then the next step is use another browser. So for example, in my case, I'm using Chrome as a primary browser where I'm logging in my admin. So at one browser, you can log in as only one user. So just to caveat that, a shortcut is just have another browser ready. So you can either have Edge or a Safari or whatever you are using, Firefox, just have another browser and just basically use that browser to log in into your second user. So for example, if I go here, my second user is, let me check what my second user is. Um, I am user 99. Do I have it here? You probably have seen my password, but that's okay. These are all test accounts, so nothing critical. Here you go. So I logged in as a second user. This is my test user. Before that, I obviously skipped one step where I went to my Gmail or Yahoo or whatever and reset my password and then get at my password and then put a second user. So this is my second user. I logged in. So my primary user or my admin is here. So if I go back to my users, this is my main user, this is my main admin, which is Ali K. It has a system administrator profile. The second user I created as test user, the name so that I can quickly identify without getting confused. I give another email address, actually create this email address and a Gmail so that I can able to access it, go there, create the password, and then actually select the profile. So don't worry about the profile. I'll show you how you can change the name today. But in your case, you can choose a marketing user profile. There's a profile called marketing user. I can show you quickly. Okay, not here. Okay, I'll show you anyways. I mean, that is our topic for today. So I'll show you the marketing profile so you can use that. And later on, you can rename them as well. So you can see a different name here, but pretty much good. So this is the way you can able to create your second user, able to access second user. Let me see, are there any questions? What was, so there was a question. So a lot of people are saying it wasn't working for me when I used the same browser to log in into the test user. Nida, can you explain that? What does it mean?
I was just responding to Mansoor's question because he said that he used the same browser to log into both accounts and it worked for him.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what is your problem? Like you were not able to log into a second user?
No, I'm fine. I don't have a
Oh,
problem.
you're fine. Okay, very good. Okay, so it's just basically on this. You can use on the same browser. I'm just giving you a shortcut because otherwise, what you need to do is basically you need to log out and then log back in as a test user. Then you need to do something with admin. Then again, log out as a test user, log back in as a admin. So you can even do it on the same browser. I'm not saying that you cannot do it, but again, because we will doing a lot of changes and quickly we need to see how does it look like on the test user end. So that's why we are suggesting that we can switch between the two browsers. In that way, on this browser now I'm logged in as my test user, you can see over here, and then on my Google browser I am logged in as my admin. So this is the reason now we have both of them. So when we make some changes here from the admin, then we can basically go here and observe the change, if the change happens or not, right? So this is the purpose. I'm just giving you kind of a shortcut that you can, if you log in into two separate browsers and basically log in one browser as your admin, another one as a user, you can quickly able to test and it will be faster. At one point in time, I used to do on the same browser and it was pretty pathetic. So just to save you guys from that agony and a lot of reworking and just keep logging out, logging back in thing, it just makes life much easier. All right. So with that, hopefully everybody, it's kind of straightforward. If not working, then try it out, right? This is like a basic stuff. I don't want to spend too much time on that. You're getting into IT. You need to learn all that. If not, it's a good opportunity to learn how to do that. Now, one extra step that I want to show you, and which is a very practical step, is, for example, let's say now you're working in an environment. You are an admin of about 150 people. Okay, and imagine that list is right now you see like 4 or 5 here. So that list is all the way about 150 plus you, which is 151 or 150, maybe 149 other members who are working in the same environment, and they all have Salesforce password. Now you are an admin and somebody out of those 149 people comes to you and say they have an issue. Okay, you fix the issue from backend, or you need to see what the issue is. You need to observe what you need to do. Obviously, you need to log in into that environment as a user, as that particular user. Let's say Mr. Khan comes to you and say, hey, I'm not able to create a new records. Okay, you said, okay, now before I can do anything from my admin side, I need to see what is the problem, right? So how would you able to access his account? One way to do that is, okay, can you send me your user ID and password? I can log in and see what is going on. But that's not the right way, because we should not share the passwords, right? Okay, so then what can I do? So there's another process in Salesforce where, as an admin, you can able to log in into a user account without asking their password, but you can able to log in into their environment. And again, if you make any changes or do something, that is all recorded in the historical data in the logs. So it's not like, I mean again, you are an admin, you can do whatever you want, but again, asking password is not something that you can do, right? But if somebody has issues, so how do you able to log in? So there's a procedure in Salesforce that we will quickly follow. So let's go to the, so what will you do is you will send a small 3-step process to your user and say, hey, can you follow this? Give me access, and then I can able to sort your issue. And then if you want, you can go back and deactivate the issue. So it's totally up to them. They can give you access for a short period of time. You go troubleshoot, fix it. And once everything is fixed, they can kick you out as well. And then you cannot log in back to their system if that is needed. Most of the time, again, admin is somebody who's fully trusted, and they can still able to reset your password and things of this sort. But again, I mean, just as a courtesy, it's still the users can still able to prevent you logging in from the system. So I log in as a user, and the easiest way to do that is provide access to your admin is go to your setting option as a user. So make sure you are logged in as a user and go all the way here. There's something called grant account login access. Okay, so here you have two type of access as a user that you can assign either to your company admin or the Salesforce. Sometimes Salesforce, you have some issues that the admin cannot resolve and Salesforce needs to resolve, and then Salesforce needs the access. So same thing. In our case, let's say we can give some access to our administrator for 1 day. If he needs a little bit more, 3 days or whatever is feasible. Let's say you want to give him for 3 days, save it. Okay. Once you've done that, now if I go back as an admin and refresh it, you can see there's an option appears called login, right? So this test user, I'm the admin, I can able to see login. And if I click on login, I'm basically able to log in into the test user environment. See here, login as a test user. Test user is the exact same view that I can go from here, but here I can log in as an admin, and this also kind of recorded in your history. So in that way, if I'm doing anything, it is already recorded. So I cannot create like new records or delete records or things of that sort. But I mean, hopefully we should not do that. But just in case, even if I make any changes, everything will be recorded in the historical logs, which even admin cannot able to remove it, right? So so this is another quick way of doing it. Again, when you are done with that, you can just log in, and then you can get back to your admin access. And here you go. I'm back as my admin user. I did whatever I need to do. I'm back here, and this is just a quick way of logging in, because you're not supposed to ask all the 150 people to pass on their passwords to you, and then you keep the password, or they need to go back and change the password every time you do some troubleshooting for them. So that's why they have created this quick login button. So now I have this login button as an admin. So anytime if somebody have issues, I'll send them this 3-step process, which I noted down here as well. Click on user icon, setting, grant access, and you're good to go. All right. So without any further ado, let's jump into the Salesforce security, and this is our main topic for today. So what is Salesforce security? So just to try to understand first, why do we need this security and why this is a big deal? So the big deal is, let's say we go into another, and also just want to mention a couple of things as soon as anything comes up, I'll show you, even if it is not in the symmetry, is if you go back to your apps, I did talk about it, you have different clouds, and these are different apps that we created, and they are also referred as clouds. So either you can call this as a sales app or sales cloud, is the same thing. More generically, it is commonly known as Sales Cloud. So this is same thing. It's a Sales Cloud is just an app on the Salesforce. So if you buy a license for Sales Cloud, you will see the Sales Cloud. If you buy a license for Community, you will see it. Again, this is just a dev organization, so you can see everything. But again, when you actually go for the paid version, then you can see whatever you buy it. So if you paid for marketing, you can see marketing. If you paid for service, you can see it. But for the training purposes, they have provided. So let's say if I go to my Sales Cloud, you can see that I have different fields. I have opportunity, leads, tasks, files, accounts, contacts, campaigns, dashboard, reports, chatter. And then if I go to more, then I have calendar, people, cases, forecast. Now, this organization, this sales organization, let's say it is shared with all the 10 people in your organization. Let's consider a small organization of 10 folks, right? So in 10 folks, you may have some management people like CEO or some director levels. Then you have a small team of salespeople. And then let's say you have a small team of service folks. So let's say you have a team of 3 people in sales team, 3 people in service, and then rest of them are either management or HR. Uh, Basically, if you really think from an admin perspective, everything is stored in a single database. Okay, so let's say when we talk about leads, all the leads are stored in the same database. And then let's say we have all the account information, which is like different accounts, Bank of America, different pharmacies, whatever accounts that you are working with, basically different companies that you're working with, all of their information, their addresses, their or whatever information you are collecting from your accounts, they are there. And then let's say you have a lot of files which has some sensitive information. Maybe you have PO information, you have your, if you're purchasing something, you have your accounts information. So a lot of files, some of them are very related to HR, some of them are related to sales, some of them are only for your management. So maybe you are making a deal with another company or selling something, you also have that kind of information in there, right? Then same thing, you have different campaigns. So campaigns are normally run by your marketing team, right? You have all of these leads and opportunities and accounts and contacts. These are more managed by day to day by sales team. So just to give you an idea that this is like a same platform, think about it as a same office, and they have different rooms. Like right now, everybody can able to get in all the rooms, right? Let's say that scenario. But again, that is not the desired outcome. You want to make sure that the salespeople can only access the sales room. Okay, they cannot go into any other room. The service people can only access the service room because that is where they need to sit and that's their access territory. Then HR should have access to HR room, right? And then if you have executive, maybe executive can have access to all the rooms, right? Let's say CEO level or director level or management level, and they might be okay to have access for all the rooms, like admin. And admin also need to have access all the rooms, right? So this is a common scenario that certain people need to restrict it to certain areas, and some people need a wider access. And let's say there is a person who is a manager and he's a manager of sales and service both. In that case, he need access to both sales and service, but again, he need to be restricted from HR room. And let's say if there is another room for the management people who sits there, and then he cannot access that as well. And then let's say there's another room for IT, he cannot go IT. So it's a different combination that different people need. So this is called security, like where you can access. And when you actually, let's say now talk another layer, right? So the first layer is, can you get into the room, right? There are 5 different rooms. Let's say you work on a sales team. Okay, you are assigned, you can get into the sales room. Once you get inside the room, let's say there are different drawers, there are different other equipment in there. Now again, based on where you're working, you can able to maybe open one drawer but not the other one, right? So you can open something but you cannot open. So again, within that room also there are a couple of restrictions, you can do that. So same thing in Salesforce, you have different layers. So starting all the way up to the application. So first stage is, can you as a single user able to access this application, yes or no? Okay, let's say you said you need to access that, you will be granted access. Next is, within that application you have all of these different opportunities, all of these different objects. Would you as a user is allowed to view all of these objects? Let's say yes. Okay, we can grant you as an admin, I can grant you all the access. When I go to the opportunities, and I can able to see different opportunities, can I able to see all the fields, or there are certain fields that I can able to see and certain fields I cannot able to see, or certain fields I can able to edit and certain fields I cannot able to edit, right? So it's all about what you can see and what you can see even in the record. So let's say you have access to the object and you can able to view all the records. So right now, let's say if I log in here, I can see all the opportunities there, right? So can I able to see all the opportunities, or should I only able to see the opportunities that I have created? Or maybe I can see the opportunities that I have created and maybe my team has created. Maybe there's another team who is also working on another area, and their manager can able to see that. So a lot of different permutation competition, but at the end of the day, this is one database. So from one database, how you allow different people to see different things. Is that clear to everybody? Like overall, what does it really mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, any question, anything which is not clear on a conceptual view, obviously. Okay, so if that is clear, then we can, let's see if there's a question in chat box. Okay. Okay, so if there is, if that is clear on a very high level, then let's see what are the different things that are basically available, and then we can walk through different items just to keep that in mind. So let's start with what are the different things possible, right? What are the different accesses or different things with what we are talking about? So first of all, application, right? So some examples of the application is the Unboxx property that we have created, right? And then I showed you like a sales cloud, I showed you service cloud. So all of these are different applications, right? So first of all, you need to know a person has access to the application or not, right? What could be the next thing? Once you have the application, different objects, right? Do you have access to different objects? Once you have access, you need to see, do you have access to different fields? Once you have access to different fields, you also need to see if he can either create, read, edit, or delete a field, right? So this all comes under basic upon different fields, right? So for each field, can you able to create a new one? Like not just the field, but basically a new record, basically. Sorry. So basically each record, so can you able to create a new record? Can you able to delete a record? Can you read a record? Can you delete a record? So in some cases you can have access, some cases you cannot have, some cases I can give you just a create access, maybe nothing else, but I can give you read and create access, not the edit and delete access, whatever, right? So we can look into that. Here you can have fields where you can make sure that you can either able to view, or you can able to view or read is the same thing. You can do a view read, or you can also able to edit the field, right? So again, what kind of access should you have? Also, the next layer is in terms of records, right? So can you only see your own records, or you can see all records, right? Or you can see records by you and your team working for you. So let's say if you're a manager, you can see your records and the team that is working for you, but you cannot see another team and another team member, something like that, right? So there are different layers that we can work into. You can have different applications, different objects, fields, and this, okay? So based on that, the first fundamental thing what they come up with is called profile. Okay, so this is the fundamental thing that is created, which is called profile. Now think about profile is your access badge, right? If you work in an organization, in an office, so usually you are given access badge, right? So that access badge, let's say your building is a secure building. So when you get to a building, the first door that you need to cross is your main door, main office door or main entrance door, right? Again, if there's a keypad and you have access, when you swipe it, you can able to be entered into the office building, right? Maybe your office is on the fifth floor, but still you need the first access into the building. So let's say you get an access, your key card is actually your profile. So your profile is your key card, right? Which means that it has set of multiple accesses, right? So you have different accesses. So you go there, you swipe your key card, you are entered into the building. Next is, let's say you have a secured elevator. You enter into the elevator, you press fifth floor, but it doesn't work. It asks you to swap your card. Okay, no worries. You swap your card, it accepted it, you have access. The elevator moves to the fifth floor, you get out, and now you see different offices in there. You get to your office, and then again there's an entrance door. Again, you swap your card, you get in there, you get the idea, right? You get into your particular office, you swipe it, you get in there, right? So you have different type of accesses. Now, if I take access away from you to enter into the building, guess what? Is it of any use that you have access to the room? Probably not, because first you need to get into the office, to get into the elevator, to get in the office, and then you can get into your room, right? So you need all of those previous access in order to get there. So it means that if you have an access to a particular record, but you don't have access to get to see the application, is it of any use? Probably not, right? Because yeah, you have access to the room, but you don't have access anywhere else. You don't have access to the elevator, not even getting inside the office, not getting inside the building. So it is basically of no use, right? Same idea applies over here, that you need different accesses all the way along in order to see something. So if you have some sort of middle access, but if you don't have a prior access, then it's basically useless. You need the set of accesses in order to do that. So profile is the first thing that admin will create for different users. So every user will have one profile. Like, so every person who hired in an office, they will provided a access card, right? So every person should have a a profile. Now, if that profile is unique or not, that depends. So it can be unique and it cannot be unique. It can be shared as well. So what does that mean? So it means that, let's say you work in a, same example, sales office, and the sales office, you have three different people that works in the same role that you work, right? So basically I can just create one profile common, and I can give it to all three, make 3 copies and give it to all three. That should work, right? Yeah, so that make all sense. Why should I create separate ones? So basically I can create a profile and I can call it sales profile, and I can assign, or I can basically make 3 copies and give it to 3 different people, right? Or if it is something that I can just assign to them, right? Let's say it's just about assignment on the computer, you can just assign profile 3 to these 3 users. They can able to have the similar access, right? So that is the first step, where either, first of all, each person need a profile. Second, you can create a set of different access and basically create like, okay, this is my sales access, and then anybody who is getting into the sales team, I'll create a copy and give it to them. Basically, it's just a sales profile. So individual of them, they all have sales profile, but they are identical. So they all are basically sharing the same profile. So if you make any changes to sales profile, all of these 3 people will be affected. Okay. So far, is everybody's with me? Any confusions? Is everybody good? Okay, very good. Okay, so basically it means that now everybody needs a profile. So let's first think about profile. So it means that when we talk about profile, it means that it has like a long set of different accesses, right? And that's exactly what it is. So let's go there, look at a profile and see how does it look like. And then we can create a new profile and assign it to somebody as well as a practice. So you can go back to your setting, go to home, click here called profile, and then this profile comes up, click on that, and it will give you the different profiles which are already available in the system. Again, all of these which are available by Salesforce, they are called standard profiles. You can also clone it, or you can make your own one, and that will be a custom profile. Anything which is custom, you will see a checkbox in front of it, same story. And if it is not the checkbox, it means that this is basically created as a default. Now, the one that we are super interested in, let's say we want to start with a marketing profile. Okay. Now, one thing is the profiles which are available, and you want to use them, except the administrator, but any other profile that you want to use, and you want to kind of start off with what Salesforce already provided. So Salesforce provided something called, let's say, marketing user. Okay. They might have provided another one called sales users, or silver partner, or sales profile, or let's just go back to the main one, um, different type of profile. So let's see what else is useful. So for example, here, yeah, here, so custom sales profile. This is again, okay, I created that one, but let's say if there's another one which is created by Salesforce. So here, these 3 are created by me. So community profile, right? This is a particular type of profile. App profile, identity user. What else is super useful? Marketing profile, sales pro. So again, this one is a custom that I rename it. But some of these are very generic ones which are created by Salesforce, but I'll show you. Usually you just pick up any of those profiles and actually customize as per your own need. It's pretty straightforward. So first step is the one which is available closest to what we are looking for is the marketing user profile. So again, you can see which ones are default ones. So see, these 2 are ones which are available as a default. So the first step I normally do is basically I can take one of these, which is, let's say, marketing user, and I can clone that. I can clone that and give a kind of name that I can remember. So for example, marketing user um, Unboxx, right? Or something else that can represent that this is a custom profile. So here you create a custom profile. If I go back to my profiles, go back to uh, marketing. So here I just created a custom profile. So you see that custom button is checked in. I also previously created another profile, which is just UX, and then I assign this. So this one I just freshly created for you. And then this one, we can use it to assign it. Okay. So let's see what it has in there. We can see it later on, but let's go ahead and assign this profile to a user so you can understand what are we doing. So let's go back here, go to user, and this is the user. I can edit that user. Right now it has profile UX. If I go back, this new profile that we just created, and it's nothing, it's just a copy of an existing profile. I select this one, save the setting. Come back here, make sure that this profile is now assigned. Okay, so this is like a brand new profile. Basically, I just picked it up from marketing user and just rename it. Why I'm renaming it, why I'm cloning it. The reason is maybe I can do a lot of changes over the period of time. And at some point of time, I was like, you know what, I have so many changes. I don't really know how to start. Let me restart. So at that point in time, because you don't have the default one and default, you haven't saved it. So that is already kind of corrupted. So you always want to make a clone, a copy. So I always have this main profile, which comes as a default, is always available for me. So in case if I need to go back, if I can only write profile. Okay. So if I need to go back after 6 months, let's say I screwed up my this Unboxx profile a lot or this UX profile a lot, and I was like, you know what, it's just causing me a lot of pain. Let me start from scratch, and I need something to start off, which is kind of a generically have all the nice features that usually needed, and then I can make some changes that I need based on my applications. So this marketing user profile, I always want to keep it. I don't want to assign it to anybody. I'll just clone it, and then I use it and then make all the changes I want. Okay, so this is just a basic concept. And here I just go back and basically make sure that I assign this user this profile Unboxx. Okay. Now let's go back here, our test user, and basically just sign out because we make a change and then sign back in. Okay. So let's log in. Okay. So here, okay. So here, if for example, you see that I don't see the other application that we created, right? The properties, I don't see it. Even this learning one has nothing in it. It's just a home and nothing in there. Even if I go back to some other and probably come back, you don't even see that. Yeah, it's just, so for somehow it's coming up because it was there before, but or maybe basically I assigned it in that, but usually this one is also not going to show up. I can show you how you can remove that, but basically by default you don't see anything. It is not showing any other custom apps that we have created, especially the one that we created for the properties. So what it means that now you don't have access to that one, or even if we go into our um, uh, app, which is learning app, I don't see any objects in there, right? So this is basically a very fresh profile. We don't have access to the object. In this case, I have access to the app, but no objects. So it basically is useless, right? So what we need to do is now let's dig a little bit more deeper into what profile is and how we can give all of these access. Okay, so one way to go straight to your profile, just click over here and it will take you to the same location, profiles, and this is our marketing profile that we are going to make some updates. So just keep in mind that, make sure you always check it, what profile you are making changes, right? So this is the profile we are making changes. So let's have so let's have a quick intro and then we can start making some changes. So here, this section is just giving you some high level information. This is a name of the profile, this is the license, this is created by, this is custom profile, this is when it is modified. This is page layouts. I think we already discussed about page layout once. We also made some changes. So this will show you all the page layout which are available. And most of the time you will see two sections. One is for standard, one is for custom. So this is all the page layout for standard objects. Let's say you want to directly skip to the custom object layout. So you can just go to the next section, like a subsection, and then you can see the other objects here. So we have 6 objects so far. You can see all of them. If you create multiple, they will also show up here. So you can directly go to a particular layout from here as well. The next section here is the field level security. I'll give you a very high level of what is field level. So for example, there is a field called account, right? And if you want to view, I can open up in a second browser. So basically you want to see that what kind of access do you have for this field, as the name suggests, field level security. So what can we do in a field? Either you can able to view or read, or you can able to edit, right? These are the two main things you could do with the field, right? So either you want to view it in terms of security, or you want to edit it, meaning I can make it read and I can take edit access, meaning that next time when I able to go and view this field called account name, I can able to see the name, right? But I cannot able to edit it, right? But I can able to create it. So when I'm creating the account for the first time, I can able to create the account. I can give the account name, well and good. As soon as it's done, it created, I go back and try to edit, I will not see the edit option there. So it means that I cannot edit that account name at all. Same thing if the checkbox is there, and again, this is universal. So if the admin put the added access here for that particular profile, all of the people who are using the same profile have the same characteristics. Okay, now we are making changes to different type of people. It doesn't mean that if I take away the added access, everybody will not have access. So it all depends upon what profile they have. So yes, if I make whatever changes between read, let's say if I take away the read access, what will happen? That person who is using this profile cannot able to see the account name at all. That's it, right? But if I have read access checkbox, uncheck edit access, they cannot able to edit it. Okay, so this is something called field level security, right? You want to secure the field, you want to just let them view it, maybe remove viewing access or give them edit access as well. Same thing, the first subsection will be for your standard, second subsection for your custom field. Next up is app settings. So basically these are all your different apps. Most of them are obviously, you know that they're standard, but some of them are the one that we created. For example, this test app is custom app, Unboxx properties custom app. What else? There's another one. Where it is? Test app, property app. Where is the? Oh, here, sorry. So you have Unboxx learning, Unboxx properties, and test. So these 3 apps are custom apps. You can see it. Now, basically, now if you see over here, it has either visible or default. So what does that mean? It means that if I uncheck something, it will not be visible for all the folks who are using this profile, correct? Easy, straightforward. If I check this default, meaning that if it is checked, then they can always able to land on this app, right? So I can change that and then assign all the apps that I wanted for this profile. Let's say if it is for marketing folks, right? So we will come back here and make the changes and assign the 3 custom apps that we need to work with for them so they can able to see. So remember that you were not able to see the Unboxx properties because of this. It was not checked. You were not able to see the test app. Why? Because of this. You were able to see the learning app because of this. Okay, so now if we go back and check all of these 3, then you can see all of these 3 together, but we haven't talked about the different objects in there. So let's see where they are. So they will be down below. Next tab is different tab settings. Same thing. You see that these are different tabs. So again, we can jump directly into our custom tabs. So registration, do you want them default on, or if you want to change, you can also do the default off or a tab hidden. Again, these 3 are options there based on your utility. If you want to hide it, if you want to turn off as a default, usually, I mean, we either we have the tab and we want to show it. So most of the cases you will see default on if you want to show that particular tab. Okay, again, this is straightforward. Now here there are some record type settings. Now what is record type? We haven't gone through what is record type, so I'm going to skip it for now. Once we go through that topic, probably in our next session, then you will understand what record type is. So in case in future when you need to change the record types, this is the location you will remember. Come back in the profile, set up your record type for a particular profile. And again, whenever you are doing something, we are always keep in mind that you are an admin. This is not done by a regular user. This is only done by admin. So let's say if you're working in a company where you are the admin and you have 150 people working in that company, so you are the only one person who is doing all of these things. Everybody else will, on the receiving end, whatever changes you are making, they will able to view it. And that's why we have this second tab where we will make some changes and view it as a user just to make sure those changes are taking place. So here you are behaving as an admin. Here you are behaving as a user. All right, so record type setting, we'll skip it for now because we haven't create one. So we'll come back to that whenever in future. Next one is administrative permission. Again, these are something that can give you a couple of extra accesses, right? So for example, you can get the password policies, you can use a chatter, you can run some reports, you can modify. So all of these things are something that when you set up for the very first time, you need to review one by one. And again, most of these are very self-explanatory. And then you can just either, if you want to give them access, you can give it. If you don't want to give them access, you take it away. And that's why some of these default one helpful, because some of these are already created based upon the role. So this is kind of a created based on Salesforce knowledge that marketing people might need all of these checks. But again, as an admin user, when you take over a new organization, you need to go to each of them, make sure that this is applicable, keep it same. If you need to update, you can go ahead and make the change. But again, a lot of these are just a straightforward information that either you provide the access or you do not provide the access. Journal user permissions, again, these are some other permissions, admin permission. These are journal user permission. What is journal user permission? Some of them is mass email, right? So for example, you allow your users that they can able to send a mass email, right? Mass email is, let's say you want to send a particular campaign email to like 5,000 of your users, right? That's a mass email. So in some cases, this is only allowed to maybe a particular person. So let's say if you're a marketing agent, maybe in your profile, mass email is checked in. But if you're a sales guy, it should not be checked in. Why would it be, right? Same thing here, convert leads. Again, this is like a very generic process, but think about it. Let's say you don't want other people to convert leads, right? You only want sales team eligible to convert leads. So you can give this access to sales team profile or sales or profile that is used by sales team, but uncheck on the other profiles, maybe for marketing, maybe for HR, maybe for other folks who are not supposed to do that. Even they don't have access. So even they cannot do it by mistake, right? So a lot of these things are self-explanatory. There is nothing really to explain. It's just a hardcore. Once you understand the Salesforce, you understand all of these options and you can either give them or take it away. Here is the fun part, right? So standard object permission. So I'll straight go to the custom ones. And basically this is our, probably you'll be using it a lot, right? So I'm going to spend a little bit time over here. So as the name suggests, custom, like obviously we are talking more about custom objects, but same thing is for standard object as well. Object permission. So what is object permission? So in an object, let's say if we talk about Unboxx properties, right? Do you have access? First of all, it start with CRED. I mean, it is back there, but just to remember, they have created a CRED CRED, which is easy way of remembering: create, read, edit, and delete. So first step is, are you allowed to create a new record? Okay. If you are allowed, then this checkbox is checked, meaning that there will be a new button. And what I mean by create an account is, if I have here, and if I go to something which this guy has access, if I go to accounts, you see this new button. If I click, it will allow me to open a new account, create a new record. Is this allowed? Create option should be allowed to this person or not. If I take away this one, means that he will not have that new button, so he cannot even able to create a new record. But I can give him read access. So if anybody else is creating the records, he can able to view it, right? And I may, again, if I'm not giving him a create access, again, logically, it doesn't make sense to give him edit or delete either, maybe just a read. But let's say you are a regular marketing user, you need to create, you need to read, you need to edit, and you need to, and that's it. And I would rather not give anybody delete access, because if you need to delete something, I need to know why. So maybe I can give this delete access to only managers, or maybe admins can always delete it. So I can take away this access for rest of the team and only want to give it to managers. So they can delete something if needed, but why would everybody have the delete access? Because maybe they might, on the last day of job, they can delete something, or even the manager can delete something. So just keep that with admin, okay? So that's there. Or by mistake they might delete something which is not supposed to be. A new guy comes in, he created a record, so, oh, by mistake I let me delete it. And the policy is nobody should delete anything, right? So you can just take away the delete access from everybody. If you want to give to somebody, you can give it, right? So same thing with all the objects. If you want to create a new record, if you want to read read an existing record, if you want to edit an existing record, if you want to delete an existing record, should you have permission or not based on this profile. So if this profile is assigned to me as a Khurram, as a user, it will define about this object that what I can do. And each object is independent. Each object, you can select it, whatever kind of access you want to give. And as an admin, I can go ahead and give that access which is needed, okay? Now there is also another column called data administration, and that's where you see view all and modify all. So what is this for? So as a regular user, I would rather not give this kind of access to any other regular users, okay? Admin, fine, no problem. But let's say either in some organizations, there is a dedicated person who is an administrator of the sequence and also a data administrator. In some organization, you have two separate people. So maybe you have a Salesforce admin, and then you have another person who normally just manage the data. Make sure the data is clean, make sure the data is duplicate proof, make sure the data is nicely, properly, timely, backup, all of that stuff. So let's say you have a separate person who do all the data management. So you can assign all of these view all and modify access to that particular person, but not to everybody, right? Again, so there will be maybe two folks who have this access, maybe your actual admin and then your data admin. And let's say if you don't have any data admin, then I would rather just keep that with the admin. And because this will modify all means that you have access to modify anybody's record. If I create a record, I can modify it, but if I have this access, I can modify your record, another person record, anybody in the organization, I can go ahead and change the record. So why would we give this kind of access? Now, why admin have it? Because he's managing the data, he's backing up the data, he's fixing the data, whatever. So that's why he had the access, and admin obviously as a default, he's a super user, so he had most of the access. Any question for this read, added, delete, all of these options? Anybody has any questions? Okay, let's see. It looks like there are a couple of questions on the chat. Okay, this is an old message. Anybody has any question? I don't see any question on the chat. Is everybody is crystal clear?
Yeah.
Very good. Cool. So this will explain you, we talk about how you give access to applications on the top. And this is the area where we'll give the access to the object and also selectively. Okay, so we'll come ahead and do that in a second, but just to go through the rest of them. Here you have some basic options: integration with the client, settings, password policies. All of these things are pretty self-explanatory. I'm not gonna spend much time on these. Login hours. So this is kind of important, so I'm just gonna show you quickly. So you can even restrict people for a particular login hours, right? And then that is also based upon each profile. So for example, salespeople, you only, let's say nowadays everybody's working remotely. So you don't want them to work off office hours. You only want them to work between 9 to 5. When you say work, meaning only access Salesforce during that time. After hours, when they try to log in, they should not be able to log in. On the weekend, if they try to log in, they should not be able to log in unless they need something and they need a prior permission, and then admin can give them the permission. So you can You have this security where you can lock people from accessing the application in times that you are not they are not permitted to. Same thing. Now you are very you are working for an organization that is have a very secure data, and you want to make sure you go ahead and put another set of security, which is IP addresses. So you don't want your users to go to Starbucks and start working from there, or go to another cafe and start working from there, because they might be using their Wi-Fi, or people are sitting next to you, or somebody can able to see the screen. Your data might be compromised. So what we can do is we can restrict the IP addresses. Either restrict the IP addresses for office, or maybe if people are working remotely, we can restrict the IP address to the home, whatever that is. But you have that capability that you can even restrict people, that they cannot just access data from anywhere, any device, things of that sort. So you have a lot of security features available in Salesforce, so you can always prevent unallowed or illegal access in different ways. So these two are the ones. Then you have so these are a couple of Apex classes, which is more for development purposes, Visual Force development purposes, external data if you have APIs, credential access. Metadata is something that, whatever your metadata is, your all the fields, information and everything. Custom settings. Flow is something that we will learn in future sessions. Permissions, community. So rest of them are pretty kind of some of them are not related at this point. Some of them we will go through in future. So let's quickly go ahead and make changes to this profile so that we can give them right access. Before I do that, keep in mind that if I go here, I cannot see any of the custom apps. I can see only this custom app, and I show the reason why. But inside this app, I don't have access to any of the objects. So pretty much I'm restricted to no custom object access and no object I can access. This one I can only view it, but cannot go into the objects or anything like that. So now using this profile, going back to my admin, and we're gonna make that change. So first of all, I'm gonna edit that, and then we can start making the changes. So we need to do two things, right? One is we need to add the applications. So how you add the application? So pretty straightforward. Go to custom app settings and start adding the applications you want to show. So I want to add properties, and I also want to add test app. Very good. And then I can also make this, let's say properties as a default. Okay. So that's good. Next is I want to go all the way down to my objects here. And then for these custom objects, custom object permission, I want to give all 4 access to my test user. Okay, again, it's totally up to you. You need to give it, you can give it, you don't need to give it. And you can also, you can try and play around with that so that you can see how does it. For now, just to show you, I can give all the access. So it means that once everything is working, and if I did not make any mistakes, then I can able to see all the 3 custom applications. I should also able to see these 6 different objects that we have just provide the access to this marketing profile. So let me go ahead and save it. Okay, it is saved. Now I'll go there, give a couple of refreshers, and see what happens. Okay, see the first change that you have seen is the 3 apps are now appearing. Before that, just 1 app was coming up. Now you see the test app, Unboxx property, and learning app is available. All 3 are here. Let's go ahead into the properties app and see if we're able to see the objects. Very good. We can able to see the Unboxx property app. We can able to see the Unboxx offer app. Let's check out the other ones before we come back and see how the records look like. Learning app, we go to the learning app. Oh, here it doesn't show either of them. Let's see why. And then let's go to the test app first and then see if there is anything. So test app as test object, which is showing up. So the only issue here is with learning app. So we can go ahead and try to troubleshoot what's going on, right? But here, if we go to our other app, which is properties, we can able to see all the objects fine. We can able to see Unboxx properties and Unboxx offer. Both of them looks fine. Okay. Now going back to my main Chrome, and just to see what else what else might not be working. So here we see the access to Unboxx learning is there. Very good. So that one is fine. Maybe we can check if students object, this is all default on. And then let's see if we have access to, this is all there. So it should actually come up. Let's see what's going on. Okay, here you go. So sometime it's just a matter of just a delay or update. So now if I go back to my learning right away, I can start seeing my objects. Okay, so I'm good. Again, same thing. If you don't see some changes before you judge yourself that maybe I made some mistake, always give like a minute or two, maybe refresher. And if none of them work, before you go back and check what mistake you have done, always log out, log back in, and then see what happens. Because sometimes, because everything is on cloud, updating in a real time, so sometimes there might be delay. So that's very normal. All right, but I hope everybody understand that what is the change. The change is, number one, we can able to view these three custom apps: app, test, and properties and learning. The second is, if we go to property, I can able to see properties and Unboxx offer. And if I go into the properties, and if I try to create a new record, I am able to create a new record. If I go to the existing record, I am able to edit the record. And if I want to delete a record, I am able to delete a record. Okay, so all of these four functionalities that we talked about, read, create, edit, and delete, all of them are given. Now let's say I want to take away, just an example so that you can get a clear idea. So I can go back and edit. And let's say I want to take away a couple of permissions just to show you what does it mean. So let's say Unboxx properties, I can give, let's say just take away the create one, simple, right? And see what happens. Same here, sometime it takes a little bit longer. Maybe we can just log out, log back in, and then give a shot. Okay, so here, did you notice something that, where is the new button? Notice there's no new button. This is new contact, which is not same as new property, right? So here you normally have new button. If I go to all, the new button is not there. Okay, here usually you have the first button, create a new record. I don't have it. Just to show you how it looks like, go back to our typical one here. See here, create a new property. Here, new record, right? I don't have that anymore. Why? Because I took it away. Okay, I don't have that option here. So very straightforward, very simple. All you need to do is basically, if I need to give back the same access that I took away for whatever reason, all I do is basically checkbox on the create. Let's say this time I can take away the edit and delete access. Okay, let's do that. Save it. Go back to our test user. Always make sure you are on the right user. Might take like few tries to get synchronized, but once you do that, then you very simply just change the browser and you know where you are. So here I can able to create a new record, so which is good. But let's see if I able to go back and edit a record. Did you see any edit option anymore? No. Okay, but I see some edit option right here. So let me try that. See? Review the error, entity cannot be updated Unboxx property, and we know why, because we took the access away. Okay, want to give back access. Let's say the user complained that we need the access for whatever reason. No worries, we can go back and give back the access, and that's it. Any questions so far?
I'm good.
Let me, okay. Can we restrict them to use from a particular IP address also? Like not, yeah, yeah. So I showed you like where you can put the IP. So if you put the particular IP, mostly this is used, especially when you're working from office. So you can just put one specific IP from office, or you can put a list of IPs. Let's say people are working from home. So you can put a list of, let's say if you have 5 people in that particular team that are working remotely, and they all belong to marketing. So you can put the list of those 5 IPs, and they should be only able to use when they're using from that particular IP and not from anywhere else. Yep, it was also like, yeah, yeah. So I mean, home, it doesn't matter. It's basically based on IP. So whatever IP, is it home IP, is it work IP or whatever, you can definitely able to restrict them. All right. Any other question? I don't see. Okay, so it looks like good. Just a quick reminder, again, based on my previous experiences where people get confused in some cases. So just a very quick reminder, kind of quick recap. What we did is, first of all, let me just close everything. Okay, and start from setup. So basically, first thing we need to know, let's say you're logging into the system, you don't know, let's say this is a running system, you don't know what different type of profiles people are using. Okay, no problem. You go to the users, and then you see a list of your users, right? So let's say, again, in my case, we have just one admin and one user. Let's take that example moving forward. So we have one user. You need to know what profile this user is using. Right here, it is using this profile. Okay. Now you want to see what kind of access they have. You click on the profile, it takes you straight to the profile. Now you want to give a quick look and see if what kind of access they have before you make any changes. So same thing, whatever is important for you, again, you can review everything and every task, everything. But let's say you just want to review some high level stuff, then you can go straight to whatever you want to view. Let's say you want to see what kind of apps this person has access. Okay, you want to see what kind of tabs this person has access. Different type of record types is actually a very critical thing. We haven't gone through it, but whenever we work on it on the next session, then you can understand what record type is, and check what kind of record type access this person have. Then we go here, want to see, okay, what kind of administrative permission they have, what kind of journal permissions they have, right? Review all of them over here. Okay, let's say they are using all custom objects, jump to the custom objects and see, do they supposed to have all of these, or at least you can make a note of it. And basically, let's say they are not supposed to have delete access, then okay, that's fine. You just make your notes. And then in case if you are more looking into password policies, you can review the password policies and a couple other good stuff. So that's where you make, and now once you understand what they're sitting at, and then based upon the recommendations, so you will probably ask me, okay, who decide what to see, what not to see? Is the admin decide? Of course not. Admin is just the executor of the task. This all comes down from the either the department or either the PO, which is like your product owner, or whoever that person who is in charge of it, maybe the director, maybe the manager. So whoever is running that a particular role, who is responsible. So normally this is coming from, let's say you're working as an admin, you have a manager for sales, you have a manager for service, you have a manager for HR. So basically you just work with them independently, say, okay, these are the accesses that we have, we can give it. What should we give it to your team, and within the team also, if somebody need more access, less access, things of that sort. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. So it means that, coming back to our conceptual point of view, so one thing is clear. Let's say you have a sales team and you have 3 members, right? So what we decided so far, we can give them sales profile with the access that looks like everybody is good, right? So this is sales. Now the next one is another team we have called marketing. Let's say they have 5 members, and we create a profile which is matching to what they really need and give them marketing profile access. Okay, so far I think everybody is good. You know how to change it. For these 3 people, what you do is, basically, if I really want to run down to show you exactly how it works, so you go here. This is, let's say, the guy who is the marketing team. You edited, assign him marketing profile. Another user edited, assigned marketing. Another user edit marketing. Next user, sales guy, assign the sales profile, sales profile, sales profile. And these profiles you already created, right? So these two profiles, you did your homework, create them, ready to go, assign these people, these profiles, and not 45, but 4 members, the marketing profile, okay? Is everybody good so far? Because we are going into a next, like a subsequent step from the profile to the next one. So just want to make sure everybody's crystal clear, no doubts whatsoever.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
if in the future, if you make a change and let's say the sales profile is going to make the changes for all 5 members, but could you make like a change for just like one member? Let's say you wanted to restrict access just for like one of the sales profile.
Very good question. So this will be covered what I'm going through next.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but any other question between the profiles? So far, our understanding is all 3 members need the everything same, right? And all 4 members for marketing need the everything same. So between sales and marketing profile, there could be multiple differences, but between everybody who is using this profile is exactly the same. All 4 members exactly the same. Now comes to your question, where 2 of them are team and 1 person is manager, right? Now, Mr. Manager need a little bit some extra access. So for example, we say that think about one object. Let's say we think about Unboxx property. Okay. Let's say we talk about CRED, right? Okay. And this is the object name, so I'll put it over here. And then here I'm going to talk about this is a team member, and here's the manager. Okay. Now let's say what we want to do here is okay. So let's say all the team need a create access. Good. Manager need create access. Yes. Read everybody need it. Manager need. Yes. Edit everybody needed. Sure. Manager needed. Yes. Delete we don't need for team, but we need for manager. So that's where your question comes up, that out of those 3 who are sharing the same profile, this one guy out of 3 guys need 1 additional access. So how can I do that? Now, what is the problem that if I just go simply to sales profile and give this access, what will happen? Everybody will get this access, right? So it means that I cannot go to the profile and just give the access, because this will give access to rest of the 2 team members as well. And that's not what I want. I just want this one guy who is sharing the same profile to do that, okay? Can anybody else tell me, based on what you know so far, what could be another alternative? Just want to see how creative you guys are. So whatever you know so far, nothing for future, which I'm going to tell you, but whatever you know right now, what is the solution for this problem?
Can we
You can
go to
clone
their,
it.
Sorry, one person at a time.
go ahead.
I was just saying that you can maybe clone it and then just restrict like or give access to the manager to delete as well.
Okay, you mean to say, if I'm not mistaken, just create another profile.
Correct.
Is that right? Is that more technically correct, or what is the second person is saying? Let's hear it from the second person. Go ahead, second person.
Oh, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm right. If we can go to the individual user profile, no?
Hold on. Let's do that. Go to the individual user. Okay. Okay, this is the user. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So can we go into their profile and
Keep in mind, as soon as I click the profile, make any changes, the same profile is shared by the 3 people, not just one. So anytime if you're just telling me that if I click on this profile, make any changes, we will hit the same problem, that if I change something, it will change for everybody. So who else has a solution for me? Anybody?
I think so. If you when you go to user, everybody can see everything, but you can make a conscious that the managers can change and look everything.
How? Where do I change that? In the profile?
By
Uh,
creating
and then when you go to my user, and
Okay.
then when you make
On
it,
my user. Okay, here. Where should I go?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm in my user. Where should I go actually? Should I change in the profile or should I do what? How do I allow the manager to able to see more? Because the only thing I am controlling right now is my profile, right? There is nothing else where I can go and check something. Because the only thing, if I go here and go into straight to my custom objects,
hmm,
wherever they are here, if I check this delete option here for the profile, the same profile is used by all three people, right?
right.
All three will get access. So that's not what I want. So what can I do based on what you know now? What is the solution for this problem?
by creating new profile for the manager.
Here you go. So that's the right answer. Simple thing is, based on right now, what I can do, only option that I have at this point, I need to create a second profile. I can call it manager sales profile. Okay. And basically give this access to this guy. And then basically I just add another profile. And then, so basically what will happen is this team is using profile called sales profile, and another profile, which is, as somebody said, I can clone it and give some extra access here, and I can do that. Now, who is not clear on this part? So basically from one profile, I go into the two profiles.
Got it.
Clear? Everybody
So
should. Yeah.
basically we are creating a separate profile for the manager, and then all the other users will be on the other profile.
Another profile. Same thing as you can see over here, right? For example,
Mhm.
if I go back to my user, this first guy, forget about his admin or whatever, he's using A profile, and this guy is using B profile. So what will happen is you will have, for example, these two guys are the two users. They both, we can assign them marketing user and or sales user. And then here, this guy, we can assign manager sales user profile.
Okay.
But now this is like a separate profile, so I can do whatever I want. I can give different type of accesses to this guy. I can just remove all of them, give more. I can do whatever because now I have a separate profile for this guy. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Now, here comes the tricky part. What is wrong with this? Okay, what is the limit of creating profiles? I think you need to define another profile. Yeah, so that is the right answer. So you can create multiple profiles, but again, I'm coming to that. You don't need to hit the limit. Now, the reason is, now, okay, that's a good solution. I can create a new profile. Now, let's say in your organization, there are 5,000 people. And this is not even, I'm not even joking, right? I work for an organization where there were actually 10,000 users. Okay. So we are not talking about 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, under 100 people. Think about Bank of America. Think about different pharmacies. Think about Veteran Affairs. They have about 350,000 employees. Let's say 1/10 or 1/20th or 1/25th of them are using Salesforce. There might be 50,000 users, maybe 20,000 users, right? I personally work for an account. I don't want to name it because I'm being recorded, but again, I work for an account based out of Maryland. Then they have about 10,000 users. And I know there are other organizations which have even more than that. And when I say users, meaning all of them have licenses. So they are one of the Salesforce premier customers. They are more like a recruiting agency, work in 32 countries, one of the biggest one in Pakistan, in US, about 16, $20 billion company, 10 different companies. So I work for the parent company, and then that's what they have. So now you are not telling me, or I'm not telling you that go ahead and start creating 10,000 profiles. That's not going to work, right? So what it means is, as a Salesforce admin or a Salesforce consultant, your priority is to keep the number of profiles as minimum as possible. Okay? Because if you have a lot of profiles, meaning that every time you need to make a change, you need to go to all the profiles and make the change. Less number of profiles, less headache. If you need to make a change, if you have, let's say, a couple of profiles, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, maybe you can easily go back and make changes. But now if you have working in an environment, you have 10,000 users, you created like 200 profiles, basically you are done, right? You just all day long you're spending adding profiles, and if you miss one, you're done. So basically you need to keep the number of profiles as minimum as you can. Okay, so that thing is established, that it's not feasible, although you can do it, there's no problem with that, and you might not even hit the limit of creating profiles, but technically is going to be very challenging and become a manual job whenever you are making changes. And keep in mind, Salesforce is not something which you set up once and you're good to go for next 6 months or 1 year. Salesforce requires a um, very interactive support, where on a either, if not daily, but maybe weekly, maybe monthly basis, you're making changes because you're learning the process, you're making the changes in your business process. Something worked on a day one, but you realize these things are not working, you enhance your system, you add new product. There are so many things going on with the business all the time that you need to be very flexible, and that's why they need Salesforce admins. That's why they need Salesforce consultant. That's why they need Salesforce developers. Otherwise, if it is just a one-time shot that you bring in a team and then they build a product and that's it, they're done, you're done for 5 years, then we don't have that many jobs. You're not taking this training anymore, because we just need like a limited number of people. It's an ongoing process like any other software. It's not going to be like 100% on day one, and it's never going to be 100 on any day possible, because the business processes are always evolving. New things are coming in, new products are coming in, the previous processes are changing. Even if the process is same, new administration comes up, new CEO comes up. He said, I want to do things like this way. We have a new change of president happening. Do you think all the processes which were working till the 20th is going to be the same? No, it's going to be a lot of changes. Whenever you say changes, meaning you're changing some business process, meaning that the product or software that is basically working, that needs a twist too. So that's where you need changes. So coming back to your point, so we understood that, okay, it's not feasible to make you know too many profiles. Okay, so what we can do, so we come up with another idea. Okay, but isn't it creating security issues, especially in the finance study, where you need to see every other user how they're putting data in their fees? If you are minimizing users, you see in login okay, Mansoor, what is your question? Is it going to be a same login? When you say login, what does that mean? Profile is not login, it has nothing to do with the login. Can you please elaborate your question? Okay, you got it. Okay, so basically it has nothing to the access. Your user access is based on your user ID and password, which is independent. We are only talking about what you can see and what you cannot see within the software. So can you see the object? Can you see the application? Can you see the field? Things of that sort. Okay, so just to be on the same page. Okay, now we are bringing in another tool, as you say, is that can help you to put something on top of it, which is called permission sets. Okay, so I can give you where you can see that information also, so we can follow that. So we just talk about all of these stuff. We talk about different teams, then we talk about different profiles. All of that stuff is here. This is like a quick exercise how you can change it. And then we are now talking about the permission set. So what is permission set? So permission set is something which will allow you to open up access, right? So that is our task over here. So if we go back to the task, we want to open up an access to one extra person here, which have the same profile. So what we want to keep the same profile, which is sales profile. Okay, so this one I can remove it. So we are already established that we are not going to add a new profile. We need to use the same profile, sales profile, but need to open up an access. So how do I open up? I can add something to this, and this is called permission set. or in short, you can also say permission set. Okay, so now I'm introducing a new kind of a tool that we can add something called permission set to wherever we need in order to give somebody some extra access. Meaning that I can here, so basically we established that in terms of profile, I still need to give him the same profile, sales profile here for both of them, for manager in here, but for manager, I can add something which is called permission set. Okay, does it clear so far conceptually that you're adding something along with that, like one additional stuff that you can attach only to Mr. Manager, and that will give him this extra access of doing the delete part. Is that conceptually everybody good? Okay, very good. Now let's talk about how do you do that? What is this permission set? Okay, doing it is very straightforward. Understanding is the main idea. Okay, doing it is, I'll show you a couple of steps, straightforward, right? Just keep in mind, again, I'm just kind of reiterating myself. You have the same profile, sales profile. You want to give some extra access, meaning added access. Let me ask you, can I remove the access also? Can I also put minus here and do that? You probably don't know, but just to let you know, you cannot. This only allow additional access. Okay, so this is not allowed. This is not permitted, meaning that your profile will give the minimum access required by everybody, because you cannot do that, that you can create a sales profile with all the access and then you can remove this access by permission set. You cannot remove an access. You can only provide additional access. Okay, is that clear? So you can only add, you cannot remove it. So I'm going to remove that anyways, but you cannot remove it. So that is also pretty key thing to remember, that it is only used for addition, but not for removing anything. Okay. Now, what is this permission set? So basically, if I have this permission set where I can give this extra access of delete, add to that, I should be good to go. So let's go ahead and do that. So how to get to that? Go to home, go to permission sets, and again, as like most of the things, there are a couple of permission sets already available. Don't worry about that. I mean, they're there. That's fine. We don't really need it. All we need is we need to create our own permission set. Okay, so click new. This button is kind of hidden here. Just click new, and I want to create a new permission set. So I can say my company name. I'm gonna say add. I can say UXT. Um, add permission set. Okay, in the description I can say that add delete permission to manager. Okay, and that's it. And I'm gonna do what is the license type. So whatever the license type you have, you can choose it. Usually Salesforce, so choose the Salesforce, or you can leave it. Mostly it doesn't really matter, but here you can create a permission set. This is how the permission set first of all look like. Okay, so don't get overwhelmed. It's pretty straightforward. What it is it has different apps. So you can see assigned apps, assigned connected apps, then you have objects, then you have permissions, then you have Apex. Again, we don't need to worry about Apex, Visual Force, external data source, flow access, because we haven't either learned some of those, or some of those are not even belong to admin. Some of those belongs to for your developers, but as an admin you can provide them access. So these are Visual Force access, which means that you can create, developers can create Visual Force pages via coding, and they look like exactly the same, but you can use them. External data sources, if you're integrating a software with a third party, then you can create the APIs, you can give the access. Okay, and flow, we will learn through it in the future one. Custom permission, that's all good. So first thing is, we are not looking into apps, we are more looking into object types. So we can click on the object types, and then we go here, object, select the object that we want to make the changes. So let's say we want object, let's say permissions. We can actually go to assigned apps. And okay, sorry. So here we are not giving the access to the apps. What we need is we need to give, so I'll go back to my permission set. Okay. And then here I need to give access to object settings. Okay, so here, I'm sorry, from here I just go back to the apps, but what I need to do is basically I need to go to a particular object. So in this case, I can go all the way to our object, which is Unboxx offer or Unboxx property. So here you see all of them, just review the whole thing. What it is saying is here, object permission, by default, no access. What it means, do you have access? No, no. It doesn't mean you have access or not. Basically, this permission set by default, it doesn't give you any additional access. Okay, whatever access you have through profile, you have that access. Now we want to give some additional access. Okay, so how you can give that additional access? So let's say you want to give an additional access to Unboxx properties. You click on that particular object, and then it will open up that particular object here and give you all the permissions we talked about, right? So here, first of all, it is asking you, do you want this tab to be visible? I want to edit that, and I want to say, yes, I want this app to be visible. Okay, now that's what we talk about. So let's say you already have read every other access. I just want to include the delete access. So that's it. I can give the delete access, or maybe just as a precaution, I can give all the 4 access, save it. Okay, that's it. That's all I need to do. But again, you have access to all the other fields also. If you want to make any changes, you are more than welcome to do that, right? So you can make the changes whatever you want. In this case, on the profile side, we assume that it does not have delete access, but we give all the 4 access just to make sure we are good, and then we can save it. Now you created the permission set. Okay, do you know, is it basically and then this permission set name is add ps, but do you know, is it assigned to anybody yet, or any profile yet?
I don't think, no, it is not.
Right, we just created like standalone thing, but it's not really assigned to anybody yet. So it's basically you just create it and just sitting there, right? It's not doing anything right now. It can do something, it can give some extra access, but to who? We don't know, right? Because we haven't assigned it. So can somebody tell me, can I assign this to a profile? Can I assign this project uxt at ps, which is permission set, to a profile or not? Like, for example, can I assign this set to sales profile or not? If not, why not? Or if yes, in either way. First of all, can I assign it to the profile? And if I do, what will be the problem?
It will give permissions to all the profiles, like users who are using that. Like,
Absolutely. So it will not resolve the problem, right? It's the same thing as you can go and edit the profile. So what should I do? What do you think logically I should assign this to?
user.
User. Very good. So we need to assign permission set not to profiles, obviously, because if you assign it to profile, it's the same thing. That profile is accessed by 3 people. If you assign it to the profile, all 3 members will get the same access. So we need to explicitly assign to a particular user. And when I say user, let's say you have like a manager as a user, member as a user, another user, right? So how do you manage that? There's a tab called manage assignment. Click on that, and then basically add assignments as the name suggests, and it will give you again the list of all the users, like you always see it, right? All the user lists come up. Let's say you want to give this access to the test user. You said, okay, test user, you get this access, assign it, and done. Now you are done. Okay, now you create a permission set. You basically assign a user, and then this user is now assigned. Now if you go back to the permission set, now this is a full complete permission set which is assigned to a user. He get an access and he can able to view it. Okay, so here if I go back to my permission sets, this permission set is now added here. I added some description, I added the license type. If I want to make some changes or view it, I can click on it. I can make changes. I can go to the object settings. I can go to the field that I've created, and then I can see that the changes will be here. Okay, so this is enabled. I set it up. So this is how you create it. Now to do a quick demo, what I can do is I give all the access. So what I can do as a test is I can go to the user profile, to this marketing user profile, and take away all the access for that user, right? Because we give all the access to that, right? Not just that access. So from here, I think this was a property, so I can take all the access. Okay, read access we need to give because this is a parent child, but I'll take remaining access from here from the properties, and then all these three access were um, given by the permission set. Okay, now if I go back to the user again, I probably need a couple of refreshers. So I don't know if you can able to make the difference, but hopefully you can understand it. But as long as if we able to do all four things, we should be good. Okay, so here I can create a new record. I can go and edit the record. Okay, all access are there, right? It means our permission set is working, although I remove all the accesses from here, right? I just give the read access and remove the remaining access. I can do one more thing to make sure it's working, right? What can I do is I can remove the permission set and make sure this is working, right? So this is like a another test, right? So I go to permission set, and this is the permission set. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, so a quick thing, if you are doing something, most of the time Salesforce give you the reasons why something is failing. So here, if you see that it is saying the permission set is assigned to one or more users, you cannot delete it. Okay, no problem. I can go back and unassign and then maybe delete it, right? So this step is good because in that way you can learn one extra thing, that if you want to delete something, you first need to unassign the user. So no problem, I can do that. I can go to the here to the permission set, go to the manage assignments, select the user, remove the assignment. Okay, now this is done. So no more assignments, very good. Now I can go ahead and give a shot to remove the permission set again. All right. Uh, okay. So did I already removed it, or because I got distracted? The cup of water. I think I already removed it, right? Okay, so we don't see the permission set anymore.
Yes, I think you did.
You did it. I
If
see
somebody
that.
watching it, just let me know because I have a short-term memory.
Anyhow, we have removed that manager from that assignment, right? No need to delete the permission set.
Yeah, or you're right. So we don't even need to delete the permission set. We could have just deleted the users from there, but I just show that so that you can understand that why it is necessary to remove the users first, and then you can delete the permission set if needed. But you're absolutely right. There was no need to delete the permission set at all because you can just remove the assignment. That's it.
Right.
Okay, now I go back to the user and see if we can not able to do a lot of things that we were able to do. Excuse me. So here you go. I removed the user, also deleted the set, but you see that the new option is gone. And then edit option is gone, so all of those things are gone. Delete option is gone. So basically those access were through the permission set. And then it means that right now, if everybody is using this profile, which is being assigned to one user, but if it is assigned to multiple user, they all will have the same access. And then if I gave like an extra access, I can create a permission set, give to a particular user, and he's good with that. Okay, so that will basically give you from this point onward sales profile permission set. And just to keep that in mind, because as soon as you kind of do it a couple of times, it should be clear. But just for now, we can also put that this is per user. Okay, so permission sets go with users, profile also goes with user, but actually we are assign the same profile to multiple users. We can also assign the same permission set to multiple users, right? Couple of examples. Let's say you have, we can take the same example here. Like we have, let's say same example. Now we have another member who is a director. He's not the sales or marketing guy, but he's actually a director for both of them, right? And he also need the same access as a manager. So all you can do is in the permission set, you can add users. In terms of users, you can add manager plus director, and that's it. And you can give these two guys a couple of extra access using the permission set. Everybody else can see that. So you can get your base access from profile, like what app you need to have access, what objects, what kind of things, and everything you get from there. But some additional access, like let's say delete access or view access or management access or some extra app access, whatever that is, you can get it from the permission sets. So is everybody clear on this?
I just want to
Sure.
be clear on this more. So instead of creating a profile for manager, we just add this permission set on the same profile with all the users and manager in that profile. That's what we are
Wrong.
doing, right?
No, wrong.
Oh, okay.
What is wrong? Can anybody tell me?
We are creating the profile and we are adding extra permissions on the for particular users. It's not on
User. So
user.
you just mentioned, the previous person just say we add the permission set to a profile. So that's a wrong statement right there. We cannot, because if we add to the same profile, what will happen? That profile will be shared by multiple people. Everybody get the same access. So what is the use of permission set? So permission sales profile is something that we need extra access to somebody who's already sharing this. So for example, this sales profile, just think of it like this. So sales profile, so you have team member 1, okay, team member 2, and then manager. Okay, so everybody has same profile. Okay, now if you make any changes to the profile or assign this permission set to a profile, although you cannot even do that, but let's assume you can do that, then what's the difference? I mean, you can just go to the profile and change it because everybody will get the same access. So what you need to do is for this user, you first of all, you create a permission set and then you can assign it to this user, right? So the permission sets are assigned to the users, not to the profile.
Oh, okay. I meant the same thing. It was just the wrong wording. Okay. So
Maybe.
in the same profile, we are giving the permission set to that particular user.
Not in the same profile. You are managing profiles separately. This is totally
Oh,
separate.
okay.
It's
Okay,
a
I got it
separate
now.
location, it's a separate thing. Just want to be very clear. But good question, because see, let's visit our profile section. Okay, so if I put profile, okay, this will come up profile. I go to the profile. This is a complete set of different profiles. Okay, let's say we talk about our profile was this management profile, right? So this is how the profile look like. Profile, this is the profile, this is how it looks like, right? Now let's talk about the second thing we said, permission set. This is entirely separate thing. Okay, so this is a different location, users, permission set. If I click on that, see this has a different view. This has nothing to do with the profile. Very different view. You create a new profile, very different view. If I want to show and edit something, it's very different, right? I cannot edit one of those, but I can open up one. So see, this view is very different. This is different app permissions. You can add different permissions here. You can you can basically, you know, app permissions, or you can basically go and add different objects, for example. So this one is not there, but let's say if I create a new one, the one that I showed you before. So here, so it's a different view basically. Altogether, it's a very different view. So permission set is entirely different, and permission sets are assigned to different users. So you've already created a profile. Every user has one profile. Now, if somebody needs an extra access, then you use another tool called permission set, and that is based on individual users. You create something new like an add-on access, open up access, and give it to whatever user needed, and then you can give it separately. So it has basically, just keep in mind that it has nothing, permission set has nothing to do with profile. Just keep it like that. It has to do everything with an individual user. If a user need an extra access, then only you think about permission set. If you want to remove some access, you cannot do using permission sets. Then you need to go back and change the profile, remove the access, then give everybody, and then you can add an additional access to somebody who need it. Is that clear?
Yes, I think it is clear
Very
now.
good. And again, I know you are just viewing it and looking at it, might not be 100% clear, but I'm hopeful that once you do it, and always just keep in mind that I can always have limited time, so I can show you limited examples. While you are practicing it, you are not just limited to what I'm showing you. What you can do is just add some access, remove some access, give permission, take permission, do it with different objects, do it with different apps, remove the apps, add the apps. I mean, you can do as many permutations as possible, because in that way you will be very, very clear. But if you just stick with what I have done, that I can only show you like one example or maybe two examples in this limited time. But when you're practicing, if you get the idea, you're able to follow me, then it's up to you that you can think about different scenarios, try to add something. Again, as I said, you cannot break anything here. Anything, even if you screw the whole thing up, that's fine. You can have another email address, create a new account, start from scratch, no problem. So you cannot really break it. You cannot mess up anything. Even if you do mess up, it doesn't matter. You are learning something. So mess up is good, is always appreciated. Something is not working, you can try again, again, again. If it doesn't work, you can let me know and I can try to help. All right. So I know we are pretty late. We're supposed to have a quick break, but it's 11:18. So we'll take a quick, maybe 18, short break, maybe 7 minutes. So maybe we'll get back to 11:25 and then we'll continue. Or maybe let's take a, I think it's a really long one. So let's take a break till 11:30 and then we can start from there. Okay. All right, guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so we just completed the permission sets. So let's move forward. What's next is, once you complete the permission sets, then there are a couple of additional tools. One is hierarchy. And then you have sharing rules and then manual sharing. So maybe I'll pick up the hierarchy at the very end. It's kind of independent, but sharing rules are kind of similar, that you can able to share the rules between different users. And then let me see what is the best sequence of details. Okay. Okay, so let's sharing rules and all, they actually come under the next topic, which is OWD settings, which is still under um, under the data security. I'm just trying to see what would be the best thing that we can cover in the next 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, so I think we can start. So one thing I can mention is, now let's talk about the field level security, and then we can jump into which I think we already talked about it, but I just gonna give you a little bit quick view of what does it mean. So when we say about field level security, is we are saying that we have two options, right? In field level security, you have edit access or read access. The only thing which I really want to tell you is from where you can access these field level security. So for the field level, you can either access from your profile, which you already see that. So let me quickly show you. And again, I kind of explained you already, but just to reiterate what it means is, let's say again, I can um, go back to a user, go back to a profile. And if you remember, I already showed you a field level security, right? So this is the field level security. We go directly to our custom field level security. Here we have, let's say, Unboxx property. Click on view on a separate tab. And here you have a couple of different options, like um, you can able to either allow them to view it. Read and view is the same thing, or you can edit it, and it will show you the list of all the fields that you have for that particular object, and you can choose whatever you want. So that is one way you can change the field level securities on an object level. Again, this is governed by uh, profile, and then you can always have different people, different profiles. So you need to set it up for each profile, what kind of access they can see in terms of different fields. So for example, the same team, half of the team can able to see the pricing, half of the team may not. So either you can, as I said, two options. So either if the number is too big and there are a lot of changes and a lot of things are there, so it's not abnormal to create like two profiles. Half of the team has one profile, half of the other, if there are a lot of changes. If just couple of changes, couple of apps, couple of things, you can always use the permission set. So both of them is your there. The preferred, there's no preference. It's all about, can you manage? So if you're creating like 10 different permission sets, that also doesn't make sense, right? Because if you are creating permission sets for everything, then also why do you don't have some basic access to do that? So maybe at some point in time you have to evaluate that, is it make more sense to create a profile, like a separate profile, or is it makes more sense to create a permission set? So keep in mind that you are learning tools, right? And the main thing that I want to teach to my student is not to really bound them from the boundaries. I just try to teach them a tool, and then how to use it, when to use it. You should use your own understanding and use it appropriately. So nothing is limited. I know the way we normally learn till now is just follow that, just practice it one time, and that's it, which actually blocks your way of thinking. Usually the way I learned also is a very like an old traditional way, where you already told the answer and you just repeat the answer and you're good to go. Where is the learning, right? So the learning comes up like the my way of learning is, and that's what I really want to move forward, is just to show you the tools, how the tools are working, and then give you a task, and then you try all of these tools and see which one is the best tool. Because what is the use of me showing you doing something and screw something using a screwdriver, and then I told you, okay, this is a screwdriver, this is a hammer, this is a drill machine, and then I'll say, okay, let me open it up via a screwdriver, and then just you can repeat it, and now, oh, I learned how to use a screwdriver. That's not really learning. That's just basically copy pasting it, and that's how a lot of people find it very difficult to survive in IT, because in IT most of the things cannot be copy pasted, because every time there's an issue, and then most of the time, to be very honest, most of the issues are unique, because there are so many possibilities that maybe you have turned something on over there, something here, something there. So you need to keep in mind that you need to have this mentality of, okay, let me troubleshoot, let me go step by step back and see where I had started the changes and what I can do. And I know like these three different tools, what tools is the best. So same thing over here. uh, Profile is one tool, permission set is another tool, and I'm giving you another field level security. So this is how you can access the security. So one way to access the security is directly from the profile, which is like this. Another way of accessing the similar kind of thing, but with some variation, is if you straight go to your um, actual page layout, and you know where to go from page layout is from going to your object. So if I go to my object settings, there's a page layout. So if I go to my page layout, and if I go to inside my page layout, there are some settings that you can also do, which are right in front of your field. So if I go into pick up any field, let's say I want to pick up the let's say I want to pick up a actual field where you are taking the input, which is more precise. So for example, asking price, right? So in asking price, there is a way you can remove the field. Again, when you're removing the field, you're not removing from the database. You're only removing from this page layout. And again, I think I will come back and explain it a little bit more in detail about the page layout. But for now, for field level, there is something called property. If you click on the property, again, this will also give you additional access. So again, here, before, if you remember, there was view access and then edit access. Here you have two other options called read only, meaning that also, but it is only read only, meaning you cannot edit. So if you turn this on, it will restrict you from editing, even if you have edit access on the other side, right, from the profile. If you click on this, then this will become read only, and I'll show you the difference. Here, if you make this required, it means that you need to put the value. Again, if you required, again, you cannot have the read only and required together, because if it is required, you need to provide it. And if you don't have access to edit, how would you provide it if it is read only? Again, so let's say if you make a required, you need to make sure that this bracket will not create unless you provide the asking price. Okay, so this is called required fields. We also saw that on multiple other locations when we are creating the bracket, where you can also make it required field. Also, if you make it read only, and then over other side from the profiles, if it is editable, what will happen is, if these two things, or in Salesforce, if you have any two settings which are contradict to each other, okay, so let's say from page layout you had made it editable, right, and from this side you made it read only. So these are two conflicting ones, right? So read only means you cannot edit, but on the profile you made it editable. So what will happen? Can anybody give me an answer? What do you think it will happen? So if I check on read only from here, and then from profile I give them edit access. So again, both of these are contradict, meaning I can edit the record, but here I'm saying this is only a read only record. So what will happen at the end?
It will be read only.
And the reason? Your
How
answer is
you can
correct.
do that?
Because that this is like field level security. What we have given is like profile level.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but both of them should work equally. But there is another reason for that. I think somebody also wants to give an opinion.
I think so. It's going to be error message you're getting. If you main profile,
No,
you
no
give
error.
you full access.
No error message. It will
No
be a
error message.
very defined thing. So what will happen in Salesforce, if you have two conflicting items, where in one case you allow something, in other location you disallow. So whatever is the severe setting from security point of view, that will take into effect. So in this case, if you allow editing from there and you can make it read only, so it will become read only. So any setting, anywhere apart from this also, anywhere if you feel like there are two conflicting settings, and if you set it, whatever is the most secure, that will take into effect, that will be precedence. So read only will take precedence on editing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so just keep
Yeah.
something to remember, that if you feel like, okay, this setting is kind of similar and it is like a conflicting, so, and if you turn both of them on and they are conflicting, so make sure whatever is the most severe condition in terms of security, so security is more important. So if I allow this editing, it actually make it less secure, right? In one location I allowed it read only, which is more secure, and editing is less secure. So if I've done something like this for the same field, in that case the one which is more secure will take into effect. Okay, so simple as that. So this one is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go into the exercise. You can try it out. All it will do is, in some cases it will only it will not allow you to edit, and then if you allow editing or read only, so you can do different combinations and see how does it work. So for now, I think you guys are pretty well aware of how to do all of these settings. So if you go ahead and play around, make it editable, make it this one, and then try the field, just pick up any one field and then play around with different both of the settings. One setting is from profile, the other setting is from the page layout, and then just just do a couple of combinations, you will get the idea. The next is the page layout. So I think I can go with the page layout, and maybe the organization by default is a whole new topic, so I'll skip on that. So let's go into the page layout, and maybe we can use this example also. So let's talk about page layout. So what is page layout? So what is page layout is, while we are on it, it means that whatever you are looking at over here. So if I go to this particular record, you see this way it is coming up, property, and then here it is coming up, asking price. So this is based on the page layout that you're setting up. Okay, and each page layout, uh, you can have multiple page layouts as well for the same object. Okay, and then if you remember, you can also change the page layouts for different different profiles as well. right? So, but you will ask that how you can change it, right? So you can actually create different page layouts from here. So if I go back to my page layouts, so right now this is my page layout. So what I can do is, let's say if I want to create a new page layout, I can go here and I can do a save as, maybe give another name, right? So I can say unbox property and layout underscore uh, custom. Okay, and I can create a new page layout. Okay, so I can create a new page layout. So now if I go back to my page layouts, whatever. Okay, so here I can see previously by default, there's always a default page layout. Now I've created a new page layout. Okay, and then when you are assigning, if you remember your profiles, so let me go back to the profiles. In the profiles, okay, sorry about that. So here, if you go to any profile, so let's say if I go to the marketing profile and see right here, right up front, you have different page layouts. So see that because this is based on each profile, so you can change different profiles to different users. So here, for example, we talked about here. So let's say here we can change this to a different profile. So here we can edit the assignment and we can change it to a different layout. So here, for example, I want to edit it and I want to change the profile to a new one and I can save it. I don't want to change it right now, but you can always go ahead and make the changes. Let me go ahead and make the changes. So here I can change, okay, I change it for everybody. One second. What profile should I change only for custom and then save it. Okay, so you see that for everybody, like for all the other profiles, not everybody, maybe most of these profiles are just sitting empty, but for this particular profile for marketing user Unboxx, I change it to a different profile. Now let's say I have another profile called marketing manager user, right? And I can change another profile. So what is happening, what is going on, what is this page layout is actually doing? So let me explain that quickly. So what it is basically, this is a page layout where you have all the fields which are available in your system. So for example, these are all the fields available. So what I can do is, for example, for this particular profile, I don't want to show the property type and subtype. And I can remove that and I can save it. Okay. So what will happen is now those two fields will not be available for the user. So we can see if we can have that quickly tested. See, those two fields are gone. Did you notice that? Okay, those two fields were coming up, but not anymore. But if we go back to our original uh, admin, then you have those two fields available, property type and subtype. But in the one, because for this profile, because the main profile admin is using admin profile, but this user is using the other profile, I remove those and they're gone. But are they gone from the database or they just gone from the view? So they just gone from the view. They're not gone from the database. So that is what profile can, this is called page layout can do, where they can able to selectively based on the database. So whatever object you have all the fields available here. So if I go to the field, these fields are there. So these two fields, I remove it from the view, but if I want to add, I can quickly go ahead and basically add it again. So let's say I want to add them back. I can just easily pick them up. I can also change their setting if I want. I mean, there's not a lot of options, but some basic options, like you can change the location or things like that. And that's it. And then you can make them required or something like that, but that's pretty much it. Also, you notice that we remember when we were looking into master detail and related view, that is also on the same page. So you can edit the related view. Couple of other things, like when you are started using in future mobile cards, you can make some changes here. Fields are here. So these are different things that you can do. You can add a couple of buttons. So buttons are like change owner, change record type. You can remove some of them. If you are doing submit for approval, you can add that. Some lightning actions are here. These are lightning actions, meaning if you want to put like a button here, which can allow them to create a new case. So all of these related list is the very end. So basically all of these are available. You can make the change for a particular user, how the layout looks like, and this is called page layout, and you can assign it to a particular profile. And then that user, we view that. We are not changing anything to the database, because anytime we need to make a change to the database, where should I go? I can just duplicate this, and basically anytime when we are saying that we are really making changes to the database, then we need to go to our object manager, then we need to go to our object, and then we go to the field and relationship, and that's where we can actually remove or add a field. So if I remove this phone field from here, then it will be removed from database basically for good, right? Then I need to, all the records will be gone, everything will be gone, right? But if I'm changing anything from the page layout, I'm just removing it from the view. That's it. But in the database, it's there. I can go back and add it at any point in time I need to. And some people can view it, some people cannot view it, based upon, again, for some profiles I can add this, in some profiles I can remove it, right? And I also showed you quickly that how you can create a new page layout. You can go to any existing page layout, or you can just start from scratch. So either you can say, I just want to create a brand new page layout, and it would be something similar to this one. This is like a base, and then you can provide a um, new name. It will open up a new page layout here, and then you can do all your settings, and then selectively you can assign it to whoever in terms of profiles you want to assign, right? So I can just remove that for now. So this is how you can play with the different page layouts. Okay, so let me pause here for a second and see if you guys have any questions.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Suppose if we are giving permissions for like in this example for manager, like edit, delete and all, right?
Okay.
Suppose if they delete the record, will it be deleted from the view or from the database? Or
That,
only admin can delete from database?
right. So the one, when we talk about the actual, if we go to, so for example, let's say if we are sitting on a record, okay, this is the record. And from here, if we are deleting something, this is something we are deleting from the database.
Okay.
Okay. And what happened in Salesforce, it will save the record for 2 weeks. So for example, if you by mistake delete some records by mistake, and within like 2 weeks, if you remember it, you can go to the Salesforce trash bin, and then you can able to retrieve the deleted records. After that, it will be deleted for good. So this is not something you're removing from just from the page layout, but this delete means you want to delete the record in for real, like from the database actually.
Okay.
But again, you're not deleting the infrastructure, you're not deleting the object, you're not deleting the fields, you're just deleting the record. So for example, you have multiple 2 records here. So I can just delete this 1 record, and this will be deleted for good. Again, for 2 weeks, and after that for good. So in 2 weeks, you can able to retrieve it, but after 2 weeks, it's gone basically, unless you have a backup and you can bring it again. But other than that, here you're deleting it. What we are talking over here in the view is more like if you can able to see the view or not. So if I change the view, let's say if I remove these 2 from here, so what will happen is, for this user, all the difference will be, first thing is he may not able to see these two fields, right? That's one. Number two is if he will not able to add the information here as well, right? But for example, other users have access to this field and they are adding. So the record which are created by this user KLE will not have these two information, but the rest of the users have it, right? That's the difference. But other than that, you are if you're deleting a record, that's a different topic, that's a different thing compared to page layout. Page layout is more like what you want to show to the people, but if you don't show it, and if when they're creating the record and they cannot able to add the record, then it means that you are not adding that information into the database either, right? Because if I don't see this property type and subtype, and for example here I can come up over here, create a new record, and for example if I don't see these two, obviously I don't add the information here, so the record will be created without this information, and again that is missing the information.
Okay.
So think about an example where, let's say, the price of the project is only added and edited by managers, for example, right? So let's say all your sales team able to view everything, property name, everything else, but the price is something that is only added and viewed, and everything is only managed by your managers. So in that case, you can assign that maybe a separate profile, because if, let's say, just make it things simple, you can even do by permission set. But let's say you created a separate profile, you assign the separate page view to the manager and separate page view to the user. So user will not able to see the field where you are providing the price, and then manager can see it, but in the database it will be there. It's just that the regular sales user cannot see it, because they can create a record without the asking price and make sure that this asking price is not a required field, because if it is a required field and it is not shown up from the sales user, then they cannot even able to create the record. But then manager can get into the record, same record, and he can see this field empty and he can update the record, but the rest of the team cannot see it. So I don't know if I'm making it more confused or if you guys can able to get the point.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
precise note, like whatever we are doing on page layout, it won't be like it is only related to view part, and whatever delete option we are doing on that user level, we are deleting it from the database.
You got it. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very correct. Okay. So basically, I'll just keep it till here. Couple of points here. You can go how you go to page layouts, how you can control read write, control related lists. All of these I have covered. And the next session when we will start with something called organization wide default. This is again still the security topic, because the security topic is really, really long. So probably we'll spend another 30 to 45 minutes on this security topic, this will cover all about records. So again, I don't want to get into the details right now, and then it will cover record, and then we will also pick up our data management topic. Hopefully are able to finish it in the next session. So data management means that how to import the data, export the data, because right now we are just creating a couple of records here and there, deleting it. But what about if you have like a 10,000 records or a 500,000 records or 1,000,000 records, and then you need to do filtration, and let's say if some of your sales team go into a conference and they come back with 2,000 new leads, and you want to enter that into the system, I'm sure that you don't want to sit over here and just click new contact and start adding it manually. You want something quick where you can have that Excel sheet and then import the data directly to the Salesforce, and boom, you have like a any number of records, 1,000, 2,000, 50,000, 100,000 records added in a single click, right? So that's what we learned how to do that, and that all will be covered under data management. Same thing with the deletion. Right now you can only delete one record at a time. Let's say you want to, there are a couple of records which are really, really old, you don't need it anymore, taking your space, you already make a backup, you want to remove it from the system, you already have the backup, but you don't want to utilize your space for that, because again Salesforce give you a specific space. If you need more space, more money. So in some point in time after certain years, you are started hitting the limit, so you need to start backing up your data, removing something from the cloud. In that way, how would you remove 10,000 records, right? You take a backup, you secure it, you're good. Now you just need to remove from the Salesforce cloud. How you can remove it? So same thing, you need to remove 10,000 records, how you can do that. All of that will be covered in our next session. So stay tuned for that. Another thing I will send you in this one, which I just want to let you know upfront. So again, the one of the immediate purposes after you complete the training is to go for the certification test. So I'm gonna send you um, a couple of like example questions. So these are, so the way it is, like in one sheet I have practice question 1, and then it is as practice question answer. So in the same sheet I did not give answers, so you can easily able to pick and choose, and then in the next sheet you can confirm it once you are done. So this is kind of a preliminary idea that how, what are the types of question comes up, because the questions that comes up in the exam, it has a different flavor. It is more like if you have given like a CSAT test, or like a SAT test, or uh, GRE, GMAT type of things, where you have multiple choice, and then you can they will tell you if it is one answer is correct, or two answer is correct, or three. Sometimes they have multiple of them also, so it will tell you select any two answers, select any three correct answers. So you have to select multiple answers as well. And usually they, I mean, if you see a lot of questions which are straightforward, some of the questions will also be on a scenario based. So just want to give you like a quick starting view, and then maybe in the next couple of sessions I'll give you some more very close to real answers. So let me pick up another question and see if I have so here most of these questions are more easy ones, where kind of a giving you some basic idea, but some of them, okay, right here is more like a scenario based question. You are a Salesforce admin for a company, and then the Berlin office currently have this one. So this is how most of the questions really comes into your exam. Sometimes they gave you question like this, but not too many. Most of these questions will be scenario based. So I have kind of a mixed set of different type of questions and answers. So just to, so that you can start thinking about, when you're learning, how do you really grab the information while you're practicing and things of that sort. So this could be super helpful as well. All right. So I think we are good. It's a minute left. I think we have pretty much finished our